The elevator doors were just about to close when she stepped back, lowering her eyes as if she didn't belong there. "It's okay," she whispered softly, almost to herself. "I'll go." But before the doors could shut, a firm hand stopped them. A voice, calm, deep, and unexpected, cut through the silence. "No," the man said. "It's not okay." In that moment, something shifted. Not just in that elevator, but in the lives of everyone who would hear this story. Before we continue, take a second to support the channel. If stories like this touch your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Corner of Kind Choices, where every story reminds us how powerful simple kindness can be. The story begins on a cold Monday morning in downtown Chicago. The kind of morning where the wind cuts through your coat, and everyone seems too busy to notice anything but their own rush. Emily Carter stood outside a towering glass building, clutching a worn folder against her chest. Her hands were trembling not just from the cold, but from nerves. This interview mattered more than anything. It wasn't just about a job, it was about keeping her apartment, about paying her younger brother's school fees, about surviving. She stepped inside, instantly feeling out of place. The lobby was polished marble, filled with confident people in tailored suits. Emily looked down at her own outfit, a simple, slightly faded dress and shoes that had clearly seen better days. She approached the front desk, her voice barely steady. "Hi, I'm here for an interview." "Emily Carter." The receptionist gave her a quick glance, her smile polite but distant. "Take the elevator to the 25th floor." Emily nodded and walked toward the elevators, feeling every pair of eyes on her even though no one was really looking. When the elevator doors opened, she stepped in quietly, squeezing into a corner. Around her stood a group of executives, their conversations filled with words she didn't quite understand. She kept her gaze low, clutching her folder tighter. Just as the doors were about to close, she noticed a man approaching. He wasn't rushing like the others. He walked calmly, confidently, as if time itself waited for him. The others in the elevator shifted slightly, making space. Emily instinctively stepped back, almost out of the elevator. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'll go." But the man reached out and pressed the button to hold the door open. "No," he said gently, looking directly at her. "It's not okay. You were here first. Please, stay." Emily froze for a second, surprised. No one had spoken to her like that before, like she mattered. "Thank you," she said softly, stepping back inside. The elevator doors closed. The ride felt longer than it was. Emily could feel her heart pounding. She kept sneaking glances at the man. He didn't look at his phone like the others. Instead, he stood quietly, observing, present. When the elevator reached the 25th floor, everyone began to step out. Emily followed, unsure where to go. "Interviews are in conference room B," someone said casually. Emily nodded and walked down the hallway, her footsteps echoing in the silence. She sat outside the room, waiting. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, her name was called. She took a deep breath and walked in. And then she froze. Sitting at the head of the table, was the same man from the elevator. Her heart dropped. "Oh no," she thought. "I made a mistake. I didn't know. I should have said something different. I probably embarrassed myself." The man smiled warmly. "Emily Carter, right?" She nodded, her voice caught somewhere between fear and disbelief. "Please, have a seat," he said. She sat down carefully, still processing everything. "I'm Daniel Harper," he continued. "CEO of the company." Emily's mind went blank. The CEO? The man she almost gave up her place for, the man who stopped her, was the CEO. I'm sorry," she stammered. I didn't realize. He raised his hand gently, stopping her. You don't need to apologize, he said. In fact, what you did in the elevator, that told me more about you than any resume ever could. Emily blinked, confused. You were willing to step aside, he continued. Not because you were weak, but because you were considerate. That matters. The interview began, but it didn't feel like a typical interview. Daniel didn't just ask about her qualifications. He asked about her life. Emily hesitated at first, but something about his tone made her open up. She told him about her parents passing away when she was young. About working 2 part-time jobs while finishing school. About raising her younger brother, Jake. She spoke honestly, without trying to impress. And for the first time in a long time, someone really listened. When the interview ended, Emily stood up, unsure of how she had done. Thank you for your time, she said quietly. Daniel smiled. Thank you for your honesty. She walked out, her heart heavy with uncertainty. Days passed. Emily tried not to think about it too much. She continued her routine, working long hours, skipping meals to save money, pretending everything was okay for her brother. Then one afternoon, her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Hi, is this Emily Carter? Yes. This is from Harper Industries. We'd like to offer you the position. Emily froze. I got the job. Yes, the voice said warmly. Mr. Harper was very impressed with you. Tears filled her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. Her life changed after that. The job wasn't just a paycheck, it was stability. It was hope. It was a chance to breathe again. But what surprised her the most wasn't the job itself. It was Daniel. Despite being the CEO, he remembered her name. He greeted her in the hallways. He treated everyone from interns to janitors with the same respect. One day, Emily finally gathered the courage to ask him something that had been on her mind. Why did you stop me in the elevator that day? She asked. Daniel smiled, leaning back in his chair. Because I've been you, he said simply. Emily looked at him, surprised. Years ago, he continued, I was the one standing in the corner, feeling like I didn't belong. Someone showed me kindness when I needed it most. It changed everything. He paused, then added, kindness isn't about big gestures. It's about small moments. Moments where you choose to see someone, to value them. Emily felt something shift inside her. From that day on, she carried that lesson with her. She started noticing people more: the tired cashier, the quiet co-worker, the delivery driver standing in the rain. And she chose kindness. Not because it was easy, but because she knew how much it mattered. Years later, Emily stood in a different place, strong, confident, successful. But she never forgot that moment in the elevator. The moment someone said, no, it's not okay. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person to remind you that you matter. And that's the power of kindness. It doesn't just change moments. It changes lives. So the next time you see someone stepping back, doubting themselves, or feeling invisible, be the voice that says, no, it's not okay. Because your kindness might be the reason someone keeps going. And in a world that often feels rushed and cold, that kind of warmth can mean everything.